Who do you want to be? And actually, for you listening right now, write this down on your paper, put on big, bold words at the top, write down, who am I? Write it down right now. Who am I? When you start to ask that question, it's interesting. I had to go through that exercise and go, who really am I? Am I this kind of a person, or am I this? Who am I really at my core? And who do I want to be? And the first principle is, how do we take those and merge them together? Who you want to be is who you are. Just be it right now.
Yeah.
What's the difference between someone that's happy and not happy? One of them decided to be happy. And there are strategies on how to do that. So,
hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us today. I have a real special guest. As you can see here, my guest today is Josh, the Phenom Lustig. So I call the guy the Phenom for a very, very good reason. Josh, before I tell him why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everyone's doing well. It's a pleasure to be on here, Eric. I've spent a lot of time with Eric Fierro, such a great guy. It's always a pleasure. So thanks again.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you being on here. And listen, the reason I call him the Phenom, I want you guys to know that, right, is because when you look up the definition of a Phenom, this is somebody who is an up-and-comer, but also somebody who exudes confidence and yet is also kind at the same time, has this just attractive personality that people want to be around, everything that fits this very man right here, Josh Lustig. So I really think that name, that moniker fits the bill, and I'm going to run with it, brother. I hope you're okay with that.
You coined it, and I'll let you. That was very, very kind of you, and I'll let you run with it. I appreciate you.
So I'm really excited because one of the things that I've been noticing, because I obviously am watching the growth of your career, I'm watching the moves that you're making, which are some phenomenal moves, not only in our industry, but outside of our industry as well. I feel that you're one of those very unique personalities who, at a very young age, understood the importance of investing in yourself, and not so much just investing in systems and processes, but actually investing in the mindset, right? And how to think like a multimillionaire, so that by doing so, you'll start having the actions of a multimillionaire. So tell me a little bit about your new partnership that you have with Marshall Silver, which is obviously one of your main mentors in your rise to success you've been having.
Sure, absolutely. So as you said, I'm a huge proponent of the idea that don't reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel when you don't have to. And that doesn't mean don't be original. It just means, look, if someone has something, whether it's a material possession, a financial success, a relationship success, if they have something that you want, then the quickest path to get that same thing, that skill set or that financial success, whatever it may be, the quickest way to get there is to ask them if they would teach you. And what I love about the world that we live in today is there are so many opportunities to reach out to people and pay them to go learn from them. It's way easier than I used to have, a lot of contacts, locally, where I'd ask them for advice and, hey, can I take you out to lunch? And that's actually a great strategy if you don't have the money and you still want the knowledge. Offer, hey, can I take you to lunch and just pick your brain and ask you some questions about your success? That's a good strategy. However, I have found a lot more success in saying, hey, can I pay you 10 grand and learn from you directly? Hey, can I pay you, X amount of dollars and go learn from you?
Yeah.
And it's just been a blessing. You brought up Marshall Silver. He's been a great mentor in my life. I ended up paying him, a very sizable amount of money to go learn from him at his house, which I know you got to stay at. Lucky you. And it's just been awesome. When you start to get around higher level people, you start to think and act like them, and that'll produce a similar result.
Amen to that. So what would you say? Because a lot of people have heard the amount of money you've invested in yourself over the past year. But as you alluded to earlier, not everybody has the ability to do that. But let's say that there's a training seminar out there that'll cost X amount of dollars, but that by investing that X amount of dollars, you're going to get X amount back, right? Just that's one of the steps in how multimillionaires think. They don't look at what is this going to cost me. They look at what is this going to make me, right? So if somebody says, hey, this seminar here is literally going to be a life changer for you, because it's going to help you to start X amounting, what do they call it? 10Xing your business, right? By attending the seminar and putting the fundamentals into practice. So what would you suggest to those people though, who are there some clever ways that they can get to paying for something like that? So if they see a $3,000 program, a $10,000 program, how can they pay for it, or how can they come up with ways to pay for it so that they can attend it and have that life change happen?
Absolutely. So I guess to me, it comes back to two people sitting in a room. There's two guys or two gals sitting next to each other in a seminar or at a conference. And I actually witnessed this in person by my own two eyes. And I just couldn't believe this. So this is actually a real story. I won't use any names, but they're sitting there at this conference and one of them leans over to them, and I'm going to paraphrase what they said, but something to the effect of, gosh, this really isn't very good. I'm not learning very much, is basically the gist of what they were communicating to their friend here. And the friend turns around and goes, really? I was just about ready to tell you that I think it was the most life-changing thing that I've been to. They had totally opposite opinions. Yeah. And I got to thinking, why is that? And I resonated with the second person. I've honestly, Eric, I have not to date spent money on training, online courses, coaching, events, conferences. I haven't spent a dime that I wish I could take back. And I hear all the time from people, that's just impossible. You spend over $150,000 going to these trainings, and there's all these people out there that are going to rip you off, right, Josh? So how did you avoid all those people? And I guess to me, I can learn something from anybody. It's a mindset. I am telling myself right now, if I go to this conference, there's somebody, whether they're the person teaching or whether they're just a person attending, there's somebody or something at this event or at this course, online course, that will change my life. And the lesson is we find what we look for. We find what we look for. And so the first person, they were looking for reasons that this was going to fail for them. They were looking at reasons why this is just another conference. It's going to teach me the same old thing. I'm going to come home and do nothing with the information. And I wasted $3,000 or whatever it cost for them to be there. And that was their mindset. And it always will be unless they make a shift. And the second person, they had a totally different attitude. They were there to learn. They were there to network. Let's say the conference was awful. Well, they're still going to get their money's worth out of the connections they made at the bar that night or whatever they were doing. And so it's just that mindset that we've got to shift and say, look, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get my money's out of it because I am me. I am Josh Lustig. So it comes back to, what is the program you're running in your brain around training and development? Do you already know everything, or are you someone that's going to be a sponge and go out and apply what you learn? And so for me, that example was just too good not to tell. Literally two people sitting next to each other, same exact environment, same conference, same people, two radically different experiences based on their own mindset.
That's so true, because what I see out there in the marketplace is that there are a lot of trainings. There's a lot of systems out there that are available to the masses. And the reality is the majority of the insurance agents that are out there, especially in the Facebook world, right? Those who are actually online on the Facebook communities and stuff, they already have access to the knowledge. And if they're not already seeing a growth in their agency, if they're not seeing more sales coming through or a difference in whatever, most of the time, it's not that the system is bad. It's that their mentality was wrong in how they approached it, right? Or they just haven't actually taken action. And so I think you're 100% correct with that analogy there. And that's not even an analogy, it's a true story, because that's what we'll notice out in the marketplace a lot. You have access to the systems. They do work, but they need to be worked, and they haven't been. And a lot of times it's because they're not approaching it with the right mindset. So here's what I like. Going back to the original question, right? The question is, well, how do people come up with creative ways to attend one of these life-changing mindset trainings, right? Because this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about just necessarily a conference. This is a actual training, that we're going to be talking about next. a 2-day training event coming up here in August 7th through the 9th, right?
That's correct.
In Las Vegas, Nevada. You and Marshall are basically putting on a training seminar called The Shift. It's a 2.5-day training. And this is normally a training you guys charge $3,000 to attend. But instead of having to make people get creative with how to afford it, you guys became creative in offering this at no cost, right? So tell us a little bit about this event, the Shift event that's coming up.
Sure. So it comes back to that thought process. The entire event, Eric, is based around the idea of if you think and act a certain way, you're going to get a certain result. And so it's developing the idea of who do you want to be in every area of your life. It's not just financial. It's who do you want to be as a spouse? Who do you want to be as a dad, as a mom? Who do you want to be as a business partner? How much money do you want to make? Do you want to be a millionaire, right? It's deciding who you want to be and then coming up with what are the thoughts and beliefs that you have to have, not only about yourself, also about the world around you, right? And so what are the actual beliefs? What are the thought patterns and programs that are running through your brain, telling you what you can be and who you can be, what you can have, and what you can accomplish in life. And so that's what this is about. It's not only teaching, it's literally programming or reprogramming those thought patterns inside your head to help you become more successful in every area of life. Yeah, normally this training, it's called The Shift, would be $3,000 per person. And so for you and your spouse or you and a business partner, that'd be $6,000. But again, we want to make a splash. We want to help a lot of people. And so we know sometimes finances can come in the way. We're offering this up at no cost for the August 7th through 9th event. And it'll be in Las Vegas. It'll be fun. We'll have a great time. We'll learn and we'll change some lives in the process. What could be better than that?
Yeah.
And we say it's free. We are, having people put a $500 deposit down just to make sure that you commit to yourself that I'm going to go to this event. And so as soon as you go to the event, you attend the 3-day seminar, you're going to get your money back. It's refunded. And so it's just an awesome event. We're going to have a blast. You're going to be there, and you're going to guest speak and host some trainings on automations and how to leverage that technology in your business, which thank you. We're really excited to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, you guys have been amazing to work with, and it's really an exciting time for me because I know that, one of the things that I wanted to do was show people that there are systems that can also help you with creating more efficiencies within your business. But you couple that with what you and Marshall are teaching in terms of how you view business, how you view the world. One of the things that I have noticed is, and it's not necessarily a fault of our own up to a certain point, but we're a lot of times raised doing certain things, watching the news, right? The mainstream media, hearing about what we got to do is we always got to stash money away in case of a rainy day. And, we're pre-programmed with a lot of ideas that are counterproductive to how millionaires and multimillionaires work, right? Where when you watch enough of the media, you start to think the world is a very, very bad place. When you're told to always stash away money and save it for a rainy day, you're scared to invest in yourself and in programs that are going to actually propel you and help you to grow. So we have a lot of these programs already running in our mind that are counterproductive, and we need to be in an event like this to help reprogram. Because that's one of the biggest things that happened to me was I had to reprogram my mind to see the world as my oyster and not as a place that's going against me, right? And that's when you start to break through barriers and see exponential growth. And that's why I say you're a very unique gentleman in that you were able to recognize that at a young age. And you, as a result, have been able to have this huge growth in a very short amount of time because you heavily invested in yourself, your business, and now you're getting to reap the fruits of that.
Absolutely. It's funny that you mentioned, the world around you, the media, the news, family members, sometimes, oftentimes, friends, the environment you grew up in. It's all programming. Everything around you is programming you to think a certain way. But the beautiful part of that is you also can control your own programming. Most people don't know how. Most people do not have the self-awareness and the ability. They don't know the strategies of how to control your own thoughts and emotions. And so what we do is we walk through life and we just take on the thoughts and emotions of those around us. And it's kind of like the age-old adage of you are like the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yes.
That is true. Everything that you hear and comes into your brain, or everything you read, is programming you to think a certain way. And your thoughts are what control our actions. And so if you think a certain way, you're going to act a certain way. For example, you brought it up about some people think it's crazy to invest in themselves. Mm-hmm. Well, those same people will ridicule you if you don't have a $200,000 loan for going to college, for student loans. They'll think that that is the only way to success. And there are many paths to success. And the people that think, oh, this is totally normal, let's spend 200 grand on college education, that can be very helpful. I'm not arguing with that. However, don't at the same time come over here and tell someone that it's not worth, spending 30 grand on a personal development mentor and training, or 60,000, or whatever that number is. There are many paths to success. Some of them are going to be better than others. Yeah. And I'm not going to get political here, but you got to decide what are the thoughts and actions that you want to take, and which avenue that you're about to take, which avenue is going to program you correctly to get the desired outcome. And so that's what I love so much about what I've learned. I've taken lots of sales, coaching and training and marketing, and those are all great. Those are great. At the same time, the life-changing stuff is coming from the personal development. How do you control your thoughts? Everything that happens in life is controlled by what goes on in between your 2 ears. And that's what I'm so excited to bring to other people.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely, and I've said it before, not enough emphasis is put on the personal development side when it's probably the most crucial part of success as a business owner. And I think, going back to the talk about colleges and investing in colleges, I personally think that if you are planning to be a business owner, an entrepreneur, then I would skip college. I'd skip college and invest that into courses and trainings by people who are running businesses, because they're going to be able to give you more actionable knowledge that fits or aligns with what you're aiming to do in running and growing a business. Colleges, there are very few that can do that. And the ones that can probably cost way more than you can afford to even get the training you need. So I just feel like there's going to be a huge shift in our society from the traditional college that people are used to growing up and going to get a 4-year degree or a master's degree or whatever. And it's going to come down to universities are going to be good for trainings that are specific, right? You need to study there to be a doctor or to be a lawyer. But if you want to just be an entrepreneur, or if you want to work in accounting or something like that, there's going to be more and more course creators that are going to make way better content than what colleges can provide at a far cheaper rate and give you more success. Because at the end of the day, even if the job you get as an accountant pays 60 grand a year, if you only invested 3 grand into a course to get the knowledge to become that good at what you're doing as an accountant, that's way better than spending $25,000, $30,000 for a degree that gets you the same job. So even from that standpoint, it makes so much more sense where these course creators, they're doing us a big service. It's just a shift in how things are going, and it's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing.
I agree. That industry is growing rapidly. And if you follow some of these entrepreneur magazines and different thought leaders in the entrepreneur space, a lot of them are starting to change their tune. It's just not the same experience. It's not the same level of education that we got, 40 years ago. Yeah. It's just not anymore. And the information age is so readily available that, to be honest, why would I learn out of a marketing textbook that was written 8 years ago? Why would I learn out of that textbook from someone that's not currently doing marketing? Why is that going to be more helpful for me than going out and seeking someone who is currently spending millions of dollars on Facebook and YouTube and Google and all these different social platforms that really understand how to market? Yeah. And that person that is currently doing it, to your point, Eric, they're going to teach you quicker, better, and more efficiently than traditional schooling. That's just my opinion as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, traditional colleges, they're going to have a harder time keeping up with how rapidly things change, right? There's a lot of bureaucracy that goes through in curriculums, designs, the textbooks and all that stuff. And even though I know textbooks are going digital and stuff like that, there's still, it is going to be difficult for curriculums to keep up with how fast the marketplace changes, right? And at the end of the day, the market doesn't care whether, you know, a traditional academy is losing business or not. Like, the market's the market. It's going to do what it's going to do. And at the end of the day, you got to do what's good for you. And I think course creation, where these guys who are making some amazing content out there that's really going to help change your life, is probably one of the better ways to go. So that all goes back to, again, one of the things I love about what you and Marshall are doing is you're filling a void that we have in our industry that I've noticed. I've been in it for 15 years, so I feel like I can talk, with authority here, that I haven't seen enough emphasis on people's mind shifts and mentalities. It's mostly been around processes. Hey, if you want to write 20 apps a week, whatever, copy this exact process. And guess what? So many times they can't replicate it. Why? Because they didn't have the right mentality going into it. They just basically thought, oh, they gave me this system, now I know what to do and I'm going to write 20 apps. But they don't have the work ethic. They don't have maybe the belief, the self-confidence. There's a lot of other factors that come into play. So I'm really thankful that you and Marshall are stepping in to fill that void with programs that are already successful. These training programs, this isn't like the first time you guys are ever doing this training program. This is a highly successful, well-touted training program that we're talking about in the shift, right?
Yeah, it's based off of Marshall's program, which he's called Turning Point. For 35 years, he's changed millions of lives with the same strategy. And what we've done is we've came together and we created Certain Wealth Group. That's the name of Marshall and I's training company. And we're bringing those and adapting those principles that apply to anybody. And we're actually even doing it better, because we're taking it and applying the strategy to particular insurance agents. And so the shift is those same, tried and true principles of how do you take on the thoughts and actions of the person you want to be. I'm not going to tell you who I think you should be. You should come up with, who do you want to be? And actually, for you listening right now, write this down on your paper, put on big, bold words at the top, write down, who am I? Write it down right now. Who am I? When you start to ask that question, it's interesting. I had to go through that exercise and go, who really am I? Am I this kind of a person, or am I this? Who am I really at my core? And who do I want to be? And the first principle is, how do we take those and merge them together? Who you want to be is who you are. Just be it right now.
Yeah.
What's the difference between someone that's happy and not happy? One of them decided to be happy. And there are strategies on how to do that. So one thing, if I could share quick, one thing that's helped me a lot, and this is not something we teach in the program. This is not quite as advanced as some of the strategies that we'll be teaching in Vegas. However, it does help me a lot, is in the morning, the first thing when you wake up, and this is going to change somebody's life because it changed mine. In the morning, when you first wake up, the first thing you should do, put a big old cheesy smile on your face. And you're going to feel kind of silly, maybe even a little embarrassed, even though no one else is going to see this. You almost feel embarrassed about yourself when you wake up and just immediately go, good morning. It's me. And the thing is, though, sometimes we smile because we're happy. Sometimes the emotion, sometimes the action comes because of the emotion. Oh, we're happy, so we smile and we laugh and we joke around like you and I are today because we genuinely like this conversation. Mm-hmm. Other times, when life is not going as well and there's a few challenges, sometimes you have to physically take the action and smile to feel the emotion. Yeah. Sometimes you have to smile in order to feel happy. And that's just a snowball effect. So I say, why don't you just be preemptive? Why don't we do it before anything happens today? Why don't we put ourselves in that state? So smile big. And if you want to take it, that's level 1. If you want to go level 2, for all of you out there that are definitely overachievers, laugh. That'll really make you feel weird the first couple of times, but just wake up and start laughing. And then say something, for me, I'm Christian. So I would say, thanks God for this day. Can't wait to make it even better. Whatever you want to do, that's what I do. But say something. I'm going to go crush this day. Yeah. It's a great day to be alive, and just bring that energy from the moment you wake up. It will change your life. Try it tomorrow, try it the next day, give it at least a week before you write it off. It will change your life.
I love it. I love that, man. That's definitely true. I think that one of the things that I do naturally to start off in a good mood is, and I'll tell people, I've always told people that I naturally have a more, I don't know if the word is grumpy, but I would say a more serious disposition, right? Naturally. And so I've had to work at changing, reprogramming my mind so that I become happier. And as a result, I'm more of a morning person. Like I now get up early where I used to hate waking up early. And I think that one of the things that helps me to get started is I really always feel a sense of appreciation for my wife and my children. And so it's like I wake up, I go look at my boy, and I'm just so appreciative that he's my boy, he's my son. And that's just my way of starting off on the right foot, right? So, and he's always so gracious that when he wakes up, he comes and he gives me big squeezes, like he gives me big hugs and kisses, like it doesn't fail. So I could be here starting at work, he'll bust through my office door, he'll come hug me and give me kisses and say good morning. So all that stuff like that always helps me to just start my day off better. But there's a lot of validity to what you're saying. I love that. And I think that people should put that into practice if you find yourself waking up in more of a negative emotion, right? A negative state of emotion. So one thing I wanted to finish off with here, because we're nearing about half an hour now, but the shift, if we go back to the event, the shift, I want to make it clear that it's not just a bunch of talk, right? It's not a bunch of fluff that we're talking about. We're actually talking about delivering actionable systems and practices, or at least a system that they can follow to be able to develop personally, to have those shifts in mind, to reprogram. Like we're talking about actually giving them stuff that they can put into practice right away. It's not just ethereal talk about, oh, if you start thinking more positively, then life will be better. Like it's going to actually be like, hey, step one to reprogramming your mind is this. Step two, right?
Correct. It's actually, the big distinction between what we do and what anybody else in not only the insurance marketing space, but more so just training and personal development in general. The biggest distinction between what Certain Wealth Group does and Marshall, Silver, and I is we don't just teach somebody something, we actually help you reprogram, rewire. There is a big difference. You can have the tools and the strategies and the CRMs and all the great things that you need to succeed. You can have all of those. However, if you're missing the ingredient of what's going on inside your head, what you actually believe, not just what you tell yourself in some affirmation one morning, but what you actually believe about yourself, that is the determining factor. Do you actually believe you're going to succeed? Well, I don't really. Deep down, Josh, I really don't. But I tell myself every day that I'll do a good job. Well, if you don't actually believe it, then it doesn't matter what you tell yourself. It doesn't matter about all the affirmations and all that stuff. And I believe in some of that for sure. Only if it's coupled with the program that runs inside your brain. I am going to get my money's worth out of any training I go to on planet Earth. I'm looking at $100,000 mastermind right now that I'm considering for next year. And I would make my money back. Why? There's somebody at the event. There's something they'll teach me. There's something I'll come away with that will change my world forever. And I know that before I even go there. Yeah. That is a healthy program that runs in my brain. A program that was not healthy that I got rid of, I used to think you can either have success financially and have a great business, or you can have a good family life. I believed those to be completely opposite. No matter how much I said logically, oh, I don't believe that. When I dug down deeper, I went, yeah, I believe I can have one or the other. I can't have both. Well, that was the major thing that changed when I reprogrammed my brain. Now I don't believe that. I used to, and now I don't. And so what is holding you back? Anyone listening to this, what's holding you back? What programs are negative that we need to get rid of and replace them with positive ones? So anyway, I went off track again, Eric. I'm passionate about the subject. August 7th through the 9th. It's a 2.5-day seminar. I'm sure you have a link posted when you post this. You have a link that you can go to register, and we'd love to see you there. We've never done it for free, and I don't know that we ever will again. We're here to make a splash. We're here to help you. It's going to be life-changing. At least it has been for me.
Yeah. 100%. And you could see that again, the proof is in the pudding. And again, that's one of the beauties about who you and who Marshall are, is that you guys have a lot of proof in the pudding, right? You not only talk the talk, you walk the walk, and it's evident in everything you guys do. So I'm super excited. You guys will see the link below or above, and you can just click to register. Like I said, it's going to be there's going to be a $500 fee to register or to book your seat. And it's for you and a guest. You don't have to bring a guest, but it's for you and a guest. And again, once you go through the training, you will be refunded that $500, which is why we say it's free, right? We just want to make sure you're committing to yourself, because if you look at statistics, right, they show that when it comes to events, a lot of times, I think 20 or 30% of the people who register or say they're going to show up for something don't actually show up. We just want to make sure that everybody who's committing to come to this event actually holds yourself accountable to arrive at the event. It'll be worth your time, because that's really what you're investing at this point. You're not even investing money to be at this. Well, I guess you'll invest in the flight and the hotel, but the event is worth it. 100%.
Lesson number one is personal accountability, personal responsibility. And we're going to help you out with letting you commit to it. And that's why we're not going to make any money off the $500. It is a commitment to yourself and to the venue, making sure that we have who says they're going to show up is going to show up. And, one last thought I'll leave you. It was too funny not to share. So talking about programming and how much these lessons, what goes into your brain, how much it affects not only us, but especially our children. And learning these strategies has been so fun for me. I have a 3-year-old son. His name is Jameson. And he watched this little movie a couple times now. I think he's watched it 2 or 3 times now in his life. It's called Luca. I don't know if you've seen it, but I thought it was a pretty cute little movie. Yeah. And in there, if you've seen the movie, in there, there's this more rebellious child, right? And he said, he's teaching the other child, he says, anytime you have a fear or you get frustrated, just tell that voice inside your head to be quiet. And he names the voice, and he says his name is Bruno. So he teaches this other little boy, when he's riding the motorcycle, when you get scared or you get in the situation where you're frustrated, just tell that voice, Silencio Bruno. Silencio Bruno. And so I'm sitting there the other day, and my wife and I are sitting in the living room, and my son, he's trying to do this little puzzle thing, and he's getting really frustrated with himself. He's 3. You could tell he's getting really frustrated that this is not working the way that I want it to work. Yeah. And he stands there and he goes, Silencio Bruno. That's what he tells himself. And then he does it. And I went, now there's a lot of bad programming in movies for kids. There is. You have to be very careful what they watch. Yeah. That was a good program. And he's awesome. A little sponge. So whatever you tell yourself, whatever those programs are extremely important. And I just thought that was a funny story, showcasing what we're talking about.
100%, guys, 100%. So listen, as many of you that can come, but obviously seating is going to be limited because of the fact that this is a free event. So the venue can only hold so many people, but just want to make sure that if you guys want to be there, make yourself accountable, be there. I know it's a little short notice, but it is worth it. And Vegas, everybody loves Vegas, right? So let's do it, guys. If you have any other questions, feel free to send them my way. Feel free to post them in the, if this is on Facebook or on YouTube, just post it below, and either myself or Josh will go on there and we'll answer your questions to make sure we get you going in the right direction. So Josh, thanks again so much for being on this podcast with me. I think this is always valuable information that they're getting here at no cost as usual. So this is just what we want to do. We want to provide some amazing content for you guys that you can learn from, apply into your life, and start seeing positive changes. That's what we're all about, right?
Eric, thank you so much. It's been a blast. If you're watching this still, you need to make sure, click the link, get registered. You're going to be able to hang out with both of us and Marshall in person. And we are so blessed to have you a part of it. So we'll see you in August, August 7th through the 9th.
Yeah. All right, guys. Take care.
Hey, thanks for watching the podcast. If you like the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can get notified when more new content comes out. We'll see you on the next one.